When I moved to Washington, D.C. 26 years ago, I fell in love the minute I crossed the 14th Street Bridge. And there are amazingly wonderful things about living in the nation's capital. However, there are some things that you should know before you move to D.C. What are the pros and what are the cons of living in our nation's capital? That's what we're going to talk about today, and we're starting right now. I'm Sherry Ann Green with Coldwell Banker. Welcome to my YouTube channel that guides home sellers and home buyers in Washington, D.C. and Northern Virginia. The first thing you should know is D.C. is a city. It is urban, it is cosmopolitan, and it is expensive. The cost of living, the expense of living in D.C., everything from milk to housing, can be expensive, but I think you may find that it's worth it. So our first con, the cost of living. However, if you compare living in D.C. to living in New York, San Francisco, Chicago, we're pretty much on par with those cities. Yes, those cities might be a little bit bigger than D.C., but the access to what you have in D.C. is incredible. So while it is expensive to live here, that cost comes with a lot of really good pros. One of those pros is the diversity of this city. That brings us to our first pro, our diversity. There are people from all over the world who live here. I like to call it the mini UN. With so many countries having an embassy here or a consulate here, and so many corporations coming in to lobby the government and talk to their leaders, we have such a diverse population, and that spills out into so many other things, whether it's theater or movies or restaurants. The other thing you need to know is DC has one of the most intelligent workforces in the country. Everyone here is extremely intelligent. Many people have multiple degrees, and it is a stiff job market for a lot of people. That brings us to our second con, the intelligence level. It's a negative because you've got to be on your game, on point, and have an amazing resume in this town. So while it's a con in the job market, the truth is it's actually a pro. DC is one of the best cities to elevate your career. Pro number two, the ultimate resume builder. But the pro to that is you are surrounded by some of the most intelligent people in the world, and you can learn a lot, you can gain a lot of knowledge, and you can make a lot of amazing contacts by working in Washington, D.C. You can learn a lot from your neighbors or from your colleagues, so you are constantly challenged by all of these intelligent people. Now, one of the things that a lot of people think of is that D.C. is truly full only of political wonks, and that is far from the truth. D.C. is full of amazing industries like tourism and tech and medical and hospitality. There are a lot of amazing companies here. Amazon just moved their second headquarters here, as you know. Nestle just moved their headquarters here. Hilton moved their entire headquarters from California to here. We have amazing corporations, large and small. The job opportunities are incredible, but the competition is tough. But having a DC-based, a Northern Virginia-based company on your resume is an excellent career builder. We don't want you to leave, but the truth of the matter is having a job in Washington is a career elevator no matter where you go in the world. Moving here from New York, you might agree with con number three. It's the metro. Another con is the metro, and I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of backlash for this. And the truth is, I love the metro system. It is very convenient, but if you are coming from New York, it is not New York convenient. It is not neighborhood centric. The metro has a very wide web of lines that don't always get you to exactly where you want to go. So one of the things you want to make sure of is that you are prepared to walk a little and to learn a little bit about each neighborhood that you are going to be metroing into and out of, which can turn into a plus. The truth is, DC has one of the healthiest populations anywhere in the country, and that is probably because we are doing a lot of walking. We love to walk. We love the closeness of our city, that we can walk to CVS or walk to the grocery store or walk to meet our friends for dinner. So while the metro is great, it is not as great as you may think if you're coming from a city like New York where you're used to it dropping you off right where you want to go. On the other hand, we have a wide array of transportation options. And while the metro may not be as neighborhood centric as you like, there are other options for transportation. So we turn the metro situation into a pro because we have a bus line system that is amazing. There is an entire circulator system that is related to getting people in and out of downtown. And then the metro has a lot of neighborhood bus lines. So that can make your commute very easy, and it also gives you a cool window on the world. We also have scooters and bike shares and car shares. Now, the scooters and the bikes can be seen as a con to some people. They're convenient and they're easy to access. But not everybody follows the bike lanes and follows the rules of the road with their bikes and their scooters, and they're riding them in places that they shouldn't, and they're falling in the canal, and we found some in the river, and they wind up in people's yards. Make sure if you are riding a scooter or riding a bike that you're following the rules of the road. It's safer for you and safer for your neighbors. Con number 4, let's talk traffic. One of the cons that some people have about DC is the traffic. If you are commuting in from the Virginia suburbs, it can be a long commute some days, and the traffic can be pretty terrible. If you're coming in on a car share or coming in on the metro, it does make life a whole lot easier. And if you live in the city and you can walk or take an Uber or a scooter or a bike, that makes it a lot easier as well. So while traffic can be a con, the number of other transportation systems that we have really can make it a plus. One of the most unique aspects of commuting in DC is what they call the slug line. Commuters meet at various parking lots in the suburbs and hitch a ride to various locations in downtown DC. In addition to that, DC is one of the most walkable cities in the country. So if you live in the city, you may not even need a car, and traffic may not be a problem to you at all. So pro number 4, accessibility. And while the traffic can be frustrating, what's great about DC is its accessibility. You can hop on a train to New York or to Boston. We have 3 major airports, and you can be at the beach or the mountains in a matter of 4 hours. So our accessibility to recreation and travel and fun is really easy with all of the major transportation systems and just our sheer proximity to other cities and other locations. To many, the sticker shock in buying a house is a con. Our homes are expensive. Con number 5, housing sticker shock. On average, our median house price is this, and it can be a sticker shock to a lot of people who are moving here. Now, if you were coming from New York or San Francisco or Chicago or Los Angeles, we're very comparable to those cities. But if you were coming from other locations around the country, Midwest, the South, it may be a sticker shock to you. The good news is there are an array of housing options in DC. We have condos and co-ops, and they come in all sizes and shapes, and they're in all neighborhoods of the city. We have row homes and duplexes and standalone homes. So the type of housing that we have here varies greatly. So there's usually a price point and a neighborhood and a size of home that makes sense for everyone. That makes pro number 5, housing options. But remember, you're moving to a city. You're going to be in a walkable location. You're going to spend a lot of your time outside in parks and restaurants and museums and galleries. So having a huge, large home may not be as important in a city as it might be in a rural location. Yes, con number 6, the number of tourists. The next con I want to talk about are tourists. We love them. We need them. They are a wonderful economic generator for our city. But when you live here, there are times when the tourists can drive you crazy. They drive up one-way streets. They don't take public transportation when they should. They don't know where they're going. They stand on the wrong place on the escalators on the metro, and they are everywhere. And why are they everywhere? It's a pro. We live in Washington, D.C.
Yay!
There are cherry blossoms and the Smithsonian and history and Congress and the White House. Of course, there are tourists everywhere. But in the spring, they can be a lot to take in. But despite the tourists, just remember, We live in Washington, D.C. What you want to do as a native, what you want to do if you live here, is find those spots in the year that there aren't as many tourists here. The fall and the winter are wonderful times to be the local tourist. The next con is the news. Con number 7, the news. Our local news is your national news. We do get some local news, what's happening in neighborhoods, crimes, a few sports scores here and there. But the truth of the matter is, what happens in Washington, D.C. is news to everyone around the country and everyone around the world. So truly, on a nightly basis, our nightly news is your national news, and it's our local news. The good news to that, the pro to that, is that as a DC resident, you are witness to history almost every single day. There's nowhere else in the country that you get the access to history like you do being a DC resident. Pro number 7, witness to history. And there is nothing like seeing a peaceful protest, democracy in action. It's hard to explain what it feels like to be able to stand in line to thank John McCain, or to thank Ruth Bader Ginsburg, or to thank John Lewis for the service that they have given to our country. It is hard to explain to someone who doesn't live here what it feels like to stand on the National Mall and watch the next president be sworn in, whether you voted for them or not. We are witness to history every single day, and that is something that should be treasured and honored. And while our nightly news is always your national news, it is really fascinating that we get to live it and experience it. One of the cons that some people have about DC is we are reservation crazy. DC loves a good reservation. Con number 8, reservations required. Everybody makes a reservation for almost every dinner that they go to. And reservations are made every day, not just on a Friday or a Saturday at a really special occasion restaurant. They're made for your local pub and local restaurants. And that's simply because we have a lot of people coming in and out, and a lot of people here for a short period of time, and people who are here to lobby Congress or to visit with their embassy may only be here for a week, and they have to make sure that their schedule moves and stays on track. So reservations have become a very important part of the DC restaurant scene. Even if it's 3 o'clock and you're going to go to dinner at 7, you probably want to check OpenTable, Resy, or some of the other restaurant apps to make sure you make a reservation at the place that you want to go to. The truth is, you want to make a reservation. We have amazing restaurants. DC has some of the most beautiful, small, charming, quaint restaurants that you've ever seen. We finally landed on the Michelin list, and boy, we have deserved it. DC has amazing restaurants run by terrific local chefs. There are chefs who have dedicated their life to living in DC and providing us with beautiful, approachable, and creative restaurants. One of the most famous chefs is somebody you probably have heard of, and that's Jose Andres. But there are others that are great too, and they have smaller, approachable restaurants that offer a wide variety of food choices, a wide variety of menu options. And the diversity that our city has and its people has spilled over into those restaurants as well. DC is one of the most amazing cities in the world to live, and I can't imagine myself living anywhere else. There are cons to living in our city, but for the most part, it is a pro every single day. If you want to know more about DC, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I'm doing an entire playlist on what it's like to live in DC. Different neighborhoods, different restaurants, different shops, all things that can be helpful as you decide to move to our nation's capital. Make sure you subscribe and make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss an episode.